Hello everyone and welcome to A Good Kind of Scary. So on today's podcast, I am going to read out one of my many blog posts. So for those of you who don't know, I have a blog on agoodkindofscary.com. I also share my podcast over there, but on agoodkindofscary.com you'll find a load of blogs that I started writing a few years back. Now, if I'm honest, if you go way back to the end, you'll see some blogs from years ago, back when I was 22 is when I initially started the blog, but it was under a different name. I think I called it Random Rafferty Reviews. I started the blog as part of my journalism course, but then I wrote in it for a while, and then once my course finished, I kind of took a pause on it, and a few years later, back in 2022, I completely revamped the blog and changed it to A Good Kind of Scary. So what I want to do now is I want to use this podcast as a medium to share all of these blogs I've written, because I've written many. And sometimes what I'm used to doing is coming on to the podcast and just expressing in conversation, chatting. These days I've been neglecting this platform a bit, and I often go onto my Instagram, I chat there, or I chat in my day-to-day life, and I write in my journal. But I love having this podcast, and I thought, why not read out some of my blogs and post them on the podcast, and I can always chat a bit about them, because I do plan on bringing you all more in-depth conversations, DMCs on this podcast, just like the last one I had with Anna. But for now, what I would love to do in the meantime, because at the moment life is a bit busy for me, so what I'd love to do is I would love to read out my blogs to you. So I've just started in a random order. Today's blog is going to focus on tracking steps. So it's called I Don't Like Tracking My Steps. That seemed to put a real downer on things. I don't like tracking my steps. And that is what I'm going to read out to you today. So I hope you enjoy. Here goes. I like going for walks, but I don't like tracking my steps. I have nothing against anyone tracking their steps, but I personally don't like it. You see, for me, it starts to make something so normal and such a necessary part of my life feel like another chore I have to tick off my list. And I'm so tired of ticking things off of lists. Actually, I'm mostly just tired of feeling bad when I don't tick every single thing off the list, which is most of the time, since I love writing long lists. And sure, it all gets done eventually in its own way. So I refuse to get a tracking watch, because I feel like I already have too many things I obsess over. I don't need more. I don't need more reasons to feel I need to be doing better than I already am. I walked over the road to a family member's house the other day, and they told me I was great for getting some exercise in. I hadn't seen the walk as exercise, but once I was praised for it, I felt weird. I've noticed people will often praise you for being productive, for reaching goals, for looking great. And a good day will be based on how much work is done and how good you look, rather than how you feel. Then I find walking for pleasure, or sitting on the beach, or reading a book can be glamorized as a luxury for the fortunate few that have the time to do nothing. Something that's only saved for a holiday away. Now, I'm well aware that it often takes a lot of hard work to reach goals. And there's a lot of joy in discipline and persistence. And of course a celebration is in order when we get there. But sometimes it's nice to let ourselves enjoy the normality of every day as we walk along this journey, and to be okay with ourselves on the days when we aren't excelling. To take time out to chill out and not constantly be hyper focused on how much we are trying to be better and trying to fix ourselves. Instead, move our bodies for fun and because it feels good. Eat a homemade meal because it tastes delicious, and it's an added bonus if the conversation at the table is even tastier. Get some fresh air and swim in the water because that is food for the soul. Read and watch movies because they're comforting, enjoyable and interesting, not just because you need to be learning. And there's nothing wrong with learning. I love it. But sometimes it's healthy for me to switch off from it all and to watch some mindless shit. Trust me, I'm only writing about all of this because there are challenges I struggle with. I make an effort to try pay attention to how I feel and what I need on any given day, rather than just listening to what my phone, the weather, what my family and social media tell me I need. This isn't always easy, but I believe it's gotten a lot easier. I've now turned my screen time notifications off because the other week I was informed it averaged around 5 hours a day. I then felt awful about what otherwise felt like a pleasant week. I started wondering why I was spending so much time staring at my phone and if it was normal. In all honesty, I use Google Maps way too frequently since I am brutal with directions. I used to be too stubborn to admit this and get lost a lot as a result. I also use Instagram to create content, and I play way too much music every day and listen to way too many podcasts. Then again, who's to say what too much is, as this measures differently for each of us and is a subjective view. Taking all this into consideration, I had to tell myself to get over myself and stop this imaginary comparison game to what the norm is. I recently read somewhere that for every hour spent on our phone, we should try take a full hour off it. Another suggestion of someone telling me what to do. Sometimes I go through hours forgetting my phone exists, especially if I'm lost in the flow of conversation or writing. This is normally my favourite feeling. And then if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I intentionally put my phone on airplane mode, go out in nature, and don't respond to messages that are sitting in my inbox so I can calm down the nervous system. Other days I'll spend hours on my phone texting friends, scrolling, watching reels and posting online. And that's okay. This works for me. It might not be sustainable and it might not be the best, but right now it's what works. And at the end of the day, who cares what the recommended ideal way to spend your day is if none of it feels ideal to you? I've recently been feeling happy in my body, and it's really nice to say that out loud or write it on paper. Saying out loud would be a lot scarier, especially in Irish culture. But I guess you could say I've been taking care of my body. Now, if some people saw my diet or lifestyle or figure, they may think otherwise. I'm sure there'll always be some know-it-all fucker lurking in the shadows waiting to inform all of us on how we could do it better. I've been eating a bit of chocolate most days, some more than others. I don't restrict my diet, but I enjoy a variety of meals that are for the most part not processed. I do love pizza very much. I don't drink much unless I feel up for it. I haven't felt up for it for a while. Saying that, the sunny weather at home has a funny way of making the Irish thirstier, and soon it'll be summer. I've been going to the gym a few times a week, not sticking to a set routine. I swim in either the sea or the pool most days, walk every day, slowly but intentionally. I've been dancing around the house more than usual and doing some yoga here and there. Sleeping a lot longer on days my energy and emotions feel crazier. And most importantly, I've given myself permission to feel my feelings, even when they're uncomfortable and confusing. Jesus, blog post is long. Okay. Today I was stretching in front of the mirror and actually liked the look of my body. So I decided to step on the weighing scales at the gym for the first time in a few months. Even though I felt a bit on edge as I did, it told me I was 3 kg lighter without having made a goal or intentional effort to get there. I was seeing a weight I hadn't seen in years. My head tripled in size and I thought I was brilliant, feeling like I'd accomplished something, by just simply being. The dopamine hit made me happy for a moment. Then my mind drifted to a familiar place of fear, wondering how I could maintain this weight, if I should push myself more and go to the gym more. And that, my friends, is called control. I had to take a deep breath, acknowledge this need to cling and maintain something, then let it go. It's confusing when things just happen and work out when we aren't necessarily trying and forcing. How sometimes letting go a little can actually benefit us. I'm not saying losing weight is beneficial, even though I feel we were all brought up to think otherwise, living in a society obsessed with looking better and producing better. I remind myself that just because you can do something, Saoirse, doesn't mean you should do something. And obsessing over a particular number isn't everything, and is also just too much energy for me. I'm not writing this post to celebrate that I've lost a few kg, or to claim I've perfected the recipe to a balanced lifestyle. To state I like the look of myself, or to lecture all of you to stop tracking things. If there's anything I've learned from life, it's that life is constantly changing. Our appearance is changing, our bodies, our experiences, our emotions, our thoughts. What works for me this month may not work for me next month. Unintentional pun, since May is around the corner. How I feel about my body today may not be how I feel about my body tomorrow. My thoughts and emotions might be easier to accept in this moment compared to another. In my opinions, the numbers on a scale or results on an exam or money in the bank doesn't define who you are as a person, but we may be hardwired to believe otherwise. These are all things that come and go and are difficult to attain and challenging to maintain, more so for some than others. All of this depends on a variety of factors. This morning I read about someone the same age as me that died unexpectedly, and it was a reminder, again, of how unpredictable all of this is, how fragile and temporary all of this is. And we, as humans, love to predict and control and to know. But there's no way we can know it all and have it all and maintain it all. That's what makes all of this so scary. Maybe that's why we love tracking things, to give us some sense of control and certainty in a chaotic world of unpredictability. Oh, geez, this blog post is more like a book. Okay, I'm continuing on, everyone. After my blog... Actually, do you know, I'm going to have a glass of water and then I'll continue on. Okay, I was there thinking these blogs would be a few minutes long, but geez, they might actually fill up the length of a podcast. Okay, we're nearly there. After my brother was diagnosed with a brain tumour, my family spent a lot of time wondering why, as did my brother. And I had a lot of people asking me why. Sometimes I smiled politely, other times I snapped at them impatiently, as they offered guesses and opinions for what it could have been, as if I hadn't already thought about it, as if I hadn't already sacrificed many nights of sleep for Googling and researching, as if my browser history wasn't filled with brain tumour causes and brain tumour cures and brain tumour survival rate and successful brain tumour stories. What was it? Was it his lifestyle choice? Was it football? Was it food? Was it genetic? Was it something he was born with? Was it this? Was it that? What we do know is that it was a tumour less than 1% of people have, that is normally found in the lungs, rarely discovered in the brain, let alone the brain stem, which is the worst spot to have a tumour. The surgeons had no explanation, no answer. There was no answer. I think one of the hardest things in life is watching someone you love go through something as painful and awful without being able to fix it or control it or even understand it, without being able to take it away or do anything other than accept it and be with them through it. There were no guarantees going in and out of every surgery. The numbers and statistics and scientific explanations and possible causes meant nothing when it came down to it. All we wanted to know was, is he okay? And will he be okay? And how can we make sure that he is okay? It was complete helplessness. We had to lean into hope and love, taking it one day at a time. So there you go. This might seem like a bleak ending to a blog post that was meant to focus on the topic of tracking steps. But it sometimes takes bleak endings to burst our imaginary bubble of happy endings. It takes witnessing pain and injustice to realise how insignificant not getting enough steps is in the grand scheme of things. I do think walking in any form of movement is great, as I know it brightens my mood. I am a big fan of enjoying the little things and taking one step at a time. But maybe we don't always need to track it to feel good about it. Maybe we just need to let go a little and let ourselves enjoy it. The end. Okay, so that blog post was posted in April 28, 2024. So a year and a few months ago now. And yeah, I mean, even reading that, like, I can still relate to so many of that and so much of that. Many. Who's tracking? Who's keeping track? Not me. Grammar rules in English. But what I wanted to say was that I was reading the part about me losing weight, and I was thinking, I've gained all that back on since then, or in the last year. And you know, it can sound, when you read out a post like that, it can sound like I'm in a very liberated way of thinking, and like, you know, you're enlightened or things aren't bothering you. But even since then, I have had many struggles with my body image. I suppose I've had dips, ups and downs and emotions, and I stand by what I spoke about in this, that change is something that's always guaranteed, and that sometimes, instead of tracking things and getting so obsessed with the now, something that I find comforting is knowing, like, okay, this feeling in this moment isn't forever. And recognising that too, and that change is guaranteed, and there can be a lot of joy in that, a lot of fear, but also a lot of freedom. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today's blog / podcast. You can let me know how you found the format of this podcast. And I'm looking forward to, I think I quite like the idea of sharing more of these blogs. Let me know what you think at a good kind of scary. And I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are, whatever you're doing. This one's for you.